Man de metargem li babakar, aliba de ben bagbag, whoever will explain me, according to ben bagbag, why it's necessary for the Torah to tell me that you can buy the hide of the animal, the drasha of bakar, I would bring his clothing to him into the bathhouse. Okay, babakar, so the Gemara doesn't answer us. Babakar is extra. Now the Gemara comes back and elaborates more upon this halacha here of buying with the money of Meiser the food in Yerushalayim. Exactly which kind of foods could you buy? So the Gemara is going to come back to this very pasuk that we're talking about and bring a machlokes about this. So b'mai kamifligi. What is the argument? So we have over here Rabbi Yehuda ben Gadish and Rabbi Eliezer that we mentioned before. Rabbi Yehuda ben Gadish and Rabbi Eliezer. So Rabbi Yehuda ben Gadish said that you could even buy fish brine, and Rabbi Eliezer said that it's not fish brine, but it has to be with pieces of fish inside, not just fish brine. So that was their opinion. But then there's other opinions that say that you can't buy fish brine. As the Gemara is going to bring soon the drasha from the psukim, that there has to be something else. And the Gemara will explain. So what is the basis of the machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda ben Gadish and Rabbi Eliezer? The Hani Tanoi de Lekaman. And these Tanoim that we're going to bring later. So the Gemara explains as follows. Rabbi Yehuda ben Gadish and Rabbi Eliezer darshi ribuye umiyute. The way they darshan this pasuk here is ribuy and miyut. The Hani Tanoi darshi kloli uprati. So let me explain what this means. Take a look again at this pasuk, which in most Gemaras is printed on the side of the Gemara. V'nasata kesef, that you're going to use the money in Yerushalayim. What are you going to do with it? So there's a klal. First the Torah says a general thing, whatever you want. But then the pasuk writes details. Babaka, batzayim, bayayim, basheichar, all these details. And then it says again a klal. Whatever you want. So this is what's known as a klal, prat klal. How do we darshan this? What does the Torah mean to say that, by this? So there are two approaches. One approach is ribui umiyute. The Torah is writing a ribui, then a miyut, and then a ribui again. What we do is we say that the Torah really means to be marba everything. The fact that it wrote details in the middle, we're only memayet one detail. Okay, so this approach is going to be more inclusive. Klal prat klal is different. Klal prat klal says the fact that you have first a klal, then another klal, but in between there's a prat. That prat defines the klal. The klal has to be only daime, only what's similar to the prat. When I'm marba everything besides one case, adarabah. The prat defines the klal, that the klal only includes what the prat has. Those are the two different approaches here. So let's see. They dash in this pasuk in a more inclusive way, that we're really marba everything besides one thing that we're memayah. The Torah says, that's saying everything, whatever you want. Then it says, so here there's a miyut. Then it says, there's a riba again. Riba umiyet v'riba. Riba hakel. When the Torah does this, it really means to be marba everything. So my Rabbi, what are we marba here? Rabbi kol mili. You can buy any kinds of food, whatever you desire with the money of your meiser. But there is a miyut though. There's one miyut. Umay miyut. What are we being memayit? So Rabbi Eliezer miyut sir. According to Rabbi Eliezer, we're being memayit fish brine. That's not good enough. If it doesn't have pieces of actual food or fish in it, that's not good. The oil itself is not good. Rabbi Yehuda ben Gadish, according to Rabbi Yehuda ben Gadish, miyut mayim umelach. We're only being memayit salt and water. But if it's fish brine, then that is included. That's the drasha of ribuy miyuti. Hani Tanoi, then there's other Tanoim, Darshi Kloli Prati. They darshan the drasha here as a klal and a prat. The Tanya, so in the Braisa it says, and here the Gemara is actually going to bring two opinions of exactly how we darshan this klal and prat. The Tanya v'nesata kesef b'chol ha'shutav v'nafshecha, so that's a klal, saying that whatever you want you can buy. Ba'boko b'tzayim b'yayim b'shecha, then it says specific details, only this prat, that's a specific detail. Then the Torah says again, there's again a klal. Klal uprat klal. According to this drasha, the way this approach, so the klal is only if it's similar to the prat. Ma prat mefurish peiri mi peiri. The prat, the details that it mentions here, whether it's tzayin, yayin, sheikh, babaka, batzayin, bayayin, b'sheikha, we're talking about peiri mi peiri. The literal translation is produce from produce, something that comes from something else. Like by tzayin, you have a calf that's born from a cow. You have the sheep that's born from something that's produced from something else. And also, it has to be gidulei karka. It has to be something that's growing from the ground, or it eats from the ground. It has nourishment from the ground, like an animal or anything that grows from the ground. Afkol. So too, any food that you want to buy with the money of the Maisa has to have these two characteristics. Peri mi peri, something that's produced from something else, the gidulei karka. And it has to be something that either grows or gets its nourishment from the ground. That's one approach. Tanya idach, and another brayso we learned, also klal prata klal, but not as specific, a little bit less specific than this. And the brayso says, maha prat, mefurish, vlad, vlodoi sa'aretz. In the prat we see, we're talking about something that's born from something that comes from the ground. And what is that? The animals. The animals, so besides the yayin and the sheikhar, which comes from things that grow directly from the ground, but it also includes the animals that come from their mother. It's born from the mother that comes from sheishis and bereishis that came from the ground. As Rashi says, it says in Chumash and Parshas Bereishis that toitzi aret nefesh chaya, that the animals came from the ground, and then all the other animals that are born are considered to be vlad vladei sa'aretz, born from something that originated from the ground. Afkol, so too, vlad vladei sa'aretz. You only could buy with the money of the maisa something that comes from an animal that comes from the ground. That's the second brayso. So we had two different ways how to teach this klal prata klal. So the Gemara explains now, my beinayu, what would be the difference between them? Dogim ikke beinayu. An afkamina between these two braysos would be fish. Laman dama peri mi peri. The one that says that it has to be something that's produced from something else. Vegiduli karka. It has to be something that gets its nourishment from the ground. So these two qualifications you actually have by fish. Hani dogim giduli karka. The fish, they're produced from something else. The fish are born from another fish, and they also eat from the ground under the sea. So it's interesting. Dafka, according to this brayso that seems to give more qualifications, it comes out that he actually includes more. He includes even fish. Leman dama vlad vladis haaretz, the one that says that the qualification is that it has to be something that comes from something that was originated from the ground. Dogem mimaye ivru. The fish are created from water. They're not created from the ground. So therefore, they're not going to be included in what could be bought for the money of the meiser. There's a continuation on the very same theme over here, but it goes all the way down in the middle of the next Amud, and we'll continue Mitzvah Shem after Shabbos.